You did spend some time working in Silicon Valley, in the early part of your move into the, I don't know, business world, whatever. Can you just sort of describe that experience to us?
Yeah, well, I worked up here, let's see, late 80s, or like 87, as an engineer, and part of 88, I guess. Yeah, I don't know, it was, wasn't a great experience for me, but I got a lot of comedy material out of it for later, for movies like Office Space, and then this TV show, Silicon Valley. But I lived in East Palo Alto and briefly in Sunnyvale, and worked at a couple different places.
If you were starting out now, the way Silicon Valley is now, do you think you would have stayed a little bit longer?
I think I might have, yeah. I think I could almost, if I'd been born 25 years later, almost see myself maybe doing a startup kind of thing. Because it's a different world now. It's easier to, you can start it smaller with less resources, less money. It's easier to get funded, I think, than it was back then. So it's like a lower barrier to entry to do that kind of thing now.
Did a lot of research for the show, spoke to, for example, venture capitalists.
Yep.
What was the takeaway from that? What did you learn?
I mean, I think this is one of those shows where the more research you do, the more you realize how much there is comedy-wise to do with this area. You know, we came in with certain ideas about, oh, well, let's do a story about this, let's do a story about that, and as we started asking questions about, well, how would that work? Every time we talked to somebody, you know, practically everything they said, you'd go, oh my God, that's so much funnier than what we had, and that's a better story idea, and we can't even fit that one in. You know, if we get another season, we're going to have to do that season 2.
You've said that if that happens, you might get into some of the bigger issues. I mean, obviously people talk about, you know, starting up a business and innovative products and all the money you can make, but in the Valley right now they talk about things like the income gap, they talk about, you know, women and their role in Silicon Valley. So I got the sense there's sort of some other deeper themes that you might want to explore potentially.
Yeah, and these are a lot of things that have just come up since we started shooting, basically. I mean, the stuff with the Google buses and all that, that's kind of brand new. So, yeah, there's just plenty of material out there. So hopefully we do another one.
Speaking of Google, Google's executive chairman, Eric Schmidt, has a cameo in a party scene. You did get feedback from him on how authentic that was. What did he tell you?
Yeah, that was very encouraging. When he showed up to shoot, he kind of looked around and he said, I've been to this party, which was great affirmation for us.
There are references in the show to Steve Jobs.
Are you dressed like Steve Jobs? Oh, am I?
Could you have done the show without making references to specific people? Was that integral?
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I suppose, but you know, it's you know, everyone's got Macs and PCs, and it's so everywhere that if you to try to make up pretend, I mean, and there's pretend companies too, but we just kind of, they coexist in this, and yeah, it just seemed right.
Ask me what 9 times F is. It's 75.
What do you think it is about your show that will make it different than maybe some of the other attempts?
We did an enormous amount of research, and we really tried to get all of the very subtle details as right as we could. And so I do feel like there's a nuance to reality that we've gotten in our show. And also, I think we wanted to make it as funny and just as enjoyable as possible.
Keep running!
Hopefully, that's why people watch it, not because it's technically correct, but because it's just a really enjoyable experience.
Speaking of funny, actors like T.J. Miller, who plays one of the central characters, he said you told him that you were looking for that character, you were looking for sort of a Penn Jillette type. Now, I know you've got your sort of your roots in animation. How specific do you get on what someone should look like, and what does somebody from Silicon Valley look like to you?
Okay, it's funny because sometimes I am very specific about what somebody should look like, but TJ, okay, that was in the script, just kind of like, sometimes they'll just put a description. When you haven't cast anybody, you're just trying to paint a picture or whatever, and that was in there. I told TJ, you don't have to put on weight for this. And he's like, no, it's cool, don't worry. I was like, no, but you really don't. He's like, no, I know, no, I'll do it, man. So TJ went and got fat. I didn't ask him to. Yeah.
What has this experience been like for you guys?
It's been great for me. I mean, HBO's been wonderful and supportive.
They were amazingly supportive every step of the way, to the point where they were so unintrusive that it's actually sort of a bummer, because if the show doesn't work, it's kind of 100% our fault.
That's
Like
the downside
there's
of it.
no way we can blame anyone else
Yeah.
for it. So there was sort of a downside.